Alright, everyone, good morning. Today is Sunday, March 16th, 2025 at 09:53. And today, we have our day one outlook to look at today. Today's outlook, we have an enhanced risk here for western Pennsylvania. Does not include me, but my house is nearly under the slight, I should say. Anyway, there is an enhanced risk here for extreme southwestern New York and western Pennsylvania. There is a slight extending from more of central New York through Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Maryland, D.C., Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. And of course, there's a marginal extending from Florida through Georgia, through the Carolinas, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, up into New York State, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware. So, yep, that's what we've got going on today. So, some cities that we have under the risk area include Pittsburgh, Erie, Youngstown, Altoona, and Boardman under the enhanced risk. We've got Jacksonville, Charlotte, Cleveland, Raleigh, and Buffalo under the slight risk, and Columbus, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Virginia Beach, and Tampa under the marginal risk. But evidently, some of those cities are wrong because some of them are actually in the slight risk, but that's okay. Tornado risk for today. Again, we have this 5% going from southwestern New York State through Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. And we also do have this 2% risk that goes from Florida through Georgia, through the Carolinas, Kentucky, a little bit of Tennessee, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, up into New York State. So, anyway, today we've got Jacksonville, Charlotte, Cleveland, Raleigh, and Pittsburgh under the 5%, and Washington, D.C., Buffalo, St. Petersburg, Norfolk, and Chesapeake under the 2%. So, yes. For those in the 5% area, you could see a brief EF1 tornado if it does become strong enough. But for 2%, you could just see an EF0 tornado, maybe EF1 if it does become strong enough. So please be mindful of that. Anyway, today's wind, we have a 30% chance for western Pennsylvania and extreme eastern Ohio, extreme northern West Virginia, and extreme southwestern New York State. But we do have a 15% for everybody else here. From New York State, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, as well as out in Ohio. We have the 5% here for Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, Maryland, D.C., Maryland, Pennsylvania, and New York State. So, yes. So, again, some cities that we have impacted today include Pittsburgh, Erie, Youngstown, Altoona, and Boardman under the 30%. Jacksonville, Charlotte, Cleveland, Raleigh, and Tampa under the 15%. And Columbus, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Virginia Beach, and Cincinnati are under a 5%. So, yeah. So, for the 30%, you could see brief wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour gusts possible, so please be mindful for that. 15%, we could see brief damaging wind gusts of 70 to 75 miles per hour possible, and 5% we could just see 60 to 70 miles per hour wind gusts possible, so please be mindful of that wherever you could be today. Today's hail risk, we've got extending from Florida through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, up into near D.C. So that is our hail risk for today. So some areas impacted include Jacksonville, Raleigh, Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Greensboro. So you could just see a brief hailstone of 1 to 2 inches possible, so please be mindful of that. At least it's not as busy as yesterday. So sporadic damaging wind swaths and a few tornadoes will be the primary threats for this morning through dusk across the broad portion of the east. So there you go. There is our day one outlook for today. I hope I stay safe because I am under this risk as well. There's today's hail risk. There's today's tornado, a wind risk, excuse me. There's today's tornado risk. And there's today's day one outlook. So I do really hope you stay weather aware and stay safe. And I will see you in the next video. So stay weather aware and stay safe.